I can't believe it. It's finally over. £5,000 and it's finally over. But this will be great advice for anybody who's thinking about getting into van life on how to choose the correct van, because there is no perfect van, but there is a perfect van for you. Oh, I'll just pick that up. That's a problem with the air suspension that we've just fitted. It stiffens up the back end and things go flying off there now. You see, every car, van, motorbike, any vehicle on the road has faults. They all have problems occurred. Now, if you drive sensibly, the only problems you're likely to see are A, wear and tear things, brakes and stuff like that, and B, the common problems that are going to happen with that vehicle. Now, those common problems are easy to find. So to find the perfect van for you, what you need to do is realise and find out very early on what you're going to use that van for. Now, again, we are basing this basically off vans that you want to convert into camper vans, just like I did. And it's those common faults with this van that are now all fixed. I knew all about the common faults because I did my research to start with. So the spline going into the differential, that went not too long ago. It cost me £3,500 to get it sorted. That's all said and done, including hotel prices and stuff like that. I knew that was going to go eventually because it is a common problem on most of these vans. Not all of them, just most of them. So I knew it was there. I had the money saved up just for when that did happen. But then on top of that, the oil crank seal on the front of the engine. I would show you, but it's like buried in the engine. Well, that's a massive problem on these vans too. And I've just been waiting for it to go. I've had the money saved up, ready for when it does go, I can get it sorted. And it got picked up on my last MOT because down at German Specialist, where I take the van to get all of its mechanical work, they're experts in these vans, so it'd be wise not to. Anyway, I go there. They've done a sort of a walk around of the vehicle, checking everything out, checking all the lights and stuff before they start working on it, and they give you a report. On that report, it flagged up there's a slight oil leak on your crank oil seal. And I was like, oh, it's happened, it's finally sorted, let's get it sorted. Fast forward nearly a month, because I just didn't have the time to get it in, I've finally phoned them up and said, I'm ready to get it sorted now. By the way, I've also got a brake pad warning light come up on the dashboard. They booked me in a few days later, sent it up there. They gave me a courtesy car. The smallest car I have ever driven. It was a VW Golf, because obviously German Specialist, it's got to be a VW. And they got it sorted. In theory now, there is no more common faults to go with this vehicle. The clutch and flywheel tend to go, but I had that changed as a precautionary measure when I got the spline on the differential done, because they had to take the gearbox off, so they got that on at the same time. It's all sorted now. It's finally over. But how do you find the perfect van for you? Like I say, there is no perfect van, but there might be one for you. Let's say if you're not doing a lot of mileage, or if you're not planning on doing a lot of mileage, whether it be a weekend van, whether it be someone you want to just park up somewhere for a week and not really do any mileage or massive mileage, you've got no plans to go abroad and do all the mileage that comes over there, but you can get away with one of the budget vans that are going to last for that purpose. The general consensus is VW Crafter, Mercedes Sprinter will do 300,000 miles. I found that out through looking on the used van market. There's an awful lot of VW Crafters and Mercedes Sprinters that are all at 300,000 miles. So these can last that. But there wasn't that many Peugeot Boxers, Fiat Ducatos or anything like that, any other van that sort of hit that range. There's the odd one or two, the rare occasion, and you keep up on top of your servicing, your history, and you don't drive it like you stole it. They are going to last that long. But in general, these vans tend to last 300,000 miles. Whereas your Peugeot Boxers, your Fiat Ducatos, all them sort of vans, they only tend to last around about 180,000 miles on average. This is all just based off averages that I've found through the used van market. Then you need to go down the line of space. How much space do you actually need? Are you A, going to be living in your van full time and going to require a long wheelbase camper van like I've got here? That will narrow down your search to just a few different vans, the long wheelbase versions. Are you just going to use a weekend van where you're okay to slum it for a couple of days? You can go for a much smaller van, a Ford Transit Custom or one of those sorts of vans. When I said slum it there, I mean you're not going to have a full shower room in a little Ford Transit Custom or anything like that. I knew with my partner living in the northwest, my work, my son living right over on the east, and my passion lying in the Scottish Highlands, I knew I was going to be doing a lot of mileage, which is the main reason I went for a VW Crafter. Yes, the Crafter and the Sprinter both hold quite a good value, and that's because they last so long. And yes, with a VW, you tend to pay with a badge. I found that out because VW Crafter and the MAN TGE are both exactly the same van, but the MAN TGE has cheaper parts for the exact same part as a VW Crafter. So there's a top tip for you. If you go for a VW Crafter, get the MAN TGE parts if you want to bolt them on. Once you've decided what kind of van that you actually want to convert, then it's a case of going out and finding the van. There's a couple of things you need to look for when you're actually looking for the exact van that you want to convert. One is, have they been converted before? What do they look like? Can you get the parts that you want to be able to convert it? My then point of call, once I decided to get a VW Crafter, was how much is it going to be to insure this van? Which brings me nicely over to the sponsor of this video, Sterling Insurance. Now, they can insure any vehicle, no matter how far along the process you actually are, no matter how weird and wonderful your van conversion is, whether it's just at the start of the conversion or a full camper van like mine. This is my second year with Sterling Insurance, and I've got £2,000 worth of insurance for the contents on the inside. There's a big trend going around where awnings keep getting stolen off camper vans. I've got £1,000 cover on the awning and any generators that are inside, and 365 days of European cover. That's insurance cover and breakdown cover. The key thing that really sold me to them was I got the online quote, and then I thought that seems too good to be true, so I gave them a phone call. Now, I expected to be on hold for ages, but I wasn't. They answered the phone virtually straight away. Every simple, stupid question that I had, they answered it with utter confidence, and they were nice to talk to as well. The process was just so easy, and it's now my second year, and the price hasn't increased. They insure everything from full camper vans, van conversions, cars, motorbikes, anything weird and wonderful, and you can even use their custom insurance policies to get a completely custom policy for your vehicle. That's Sterling Insurance. Get your quote with the link down in the description down below. Then once I'd figured out what actual van that I wanted to convert into a camper van, I went onto the Facebook groups that are dedicated for that exact van, and I asked the question, what are the common faults with this van? Bang, 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 bang. Within 10 minutes, a long list of stuff there. Within an hour, loads of people repeating everybody, but you could see which ones were the most common to fail. Do a few Google searches on them, see what it's going to cost, see whether it's worth investing into it. But then when you go to actually look at that van that you've found somewhere, you can flick through the service history, and this is why service history is so important. You can check whether any of that work, any of the common faults had actually been done on this van. Now, that is something that I didn't do when I got this van, but it's something I now regret not doing. I didn't know anything. It come with no service history at all. All I had was the online MOT checkers to see whether it had passed and failed or what it had failed on in the past. That's all I had. But you can do that check as well. Now, since then, I have kept a dedicated full service history, because if I ever do go around to selling this van, which I'm not going to, I've got that history there so I can say what's what. But then because I'm not selling it, I've then got that history to look back and say, oh, wait there, that was changed at this date. So I've done this many miles since that date. Every receipt and every piece of form paperwork that I've got has all got the mileage written down on it or typed down on it of exactly when it got done. So it's definitely worth keeping any information that you do get along the way. For those thinking about a VW Crafter, its EGR cooler tends to leak. Now, that throws up a few little issues when you go and try and diagnose it. It would look like a head gasket has gone, but it's not. EGR coolers leaking into the exhaust and stuff like that. Anyway, that's the main common fault with this. Apparently, AdBlue faults happen with this one. I go through AdBlue like mad, so it's sort of, I'm not going to have an AdBlue issue with this van. They've got the spline going into the gearbox, which we've already covered. We've got the clutch and flywheel, which we've already covered. That's just a wear and tear part, I think. The brakes, again, wear and tear part. And then, right now, that crank oil seal that was in the engine. If you're thinking about getting a VW Crafter, have a look in the service history to see whether any of them have actually been done. Check out my glove box. All the paperwork possible for all of the actual work that's just been done. Let's take, for example, if you're buying, let's say, again, a VW Crafter, and the one you've found that you've absolutely fell in love with has done 90,000 miles, which is nothing for one of these vans, but it's not had any of those works actually been done to it, or there's no service history of any of that work, then chances are you're going to have to foot the bill for that work very, very soon. So be wise on the van you're picking. If all that work seems a bit daunting, like, oh my God, there's a lot of things wrong with this van, you can always look at a different van. Go and do the same thing for a different van. And you can compare the two. There's always going to be problems with a vehicle. It's just which one do you want to get into? I can't stress enough just how important and valuable those Facebook groups have been to me. The VW Crafters Owners Club, oh my God, I've been on there nearly every day, especially while I was converting the van, asking questions. People have been there, people have done it, they've got their own personal opinions, but those groups also house professionals. That's what I'm going to call them. Some of them aren't, some of them are just home mechanics, or some of them are just home builders or whatever, but they have experience. I've got a problem with this. Let me show you this. For instance, this is a long wheelbase VW Crafter, so I've got that supporting beam just there. I knew this van wasn't long enough for me to go to sleep sideways, but if I did that, then it would be. Now, I can get side flares to go on the outside. I would have never known there's only one company that does side flares for the long wheelbase that basically cut that beam out and move it to essentially there, so you can have a bigger space there. I now know that one company. So if I wanted to do that, let's say I was 6'7" and I wanted to sleep sideways in my design, I can get that sorted. I needed some mechanical work doing with somebody who knew what was what, and I got scammed a while ago saying it's going to cost you £4,000, and I said that on this Facebook group. Bang, go and see this person. I bet you any money he'll know what it is. EGR cooler, boom, 500 quid. Got it sorted. That's better than £4 grand, isn't it? But then the upkeep costs. You need to work that out and see what it's going to cost you to keep running for as long as you want to use it. Like I say, if you want to use yours for a lot of mileage, get one that's capable of doing a lot of mileage. If you're not going to be doing a lot of mileage, you can get a van that's not going to be able to do a lot of mileage. If you want to sleep sideways like that, here's a top tip. VW Crafter is the widest, but Peugeot Boxer, if you're not going to be doing massive amounts of mileage, that's got the widest bed frame, sat at about that height just there. Boxer's just a bit more boxier in the back, and it works nicer. The big one is, do you want a fixed bed going sideways or lengthways, or do you want a bed where it's just a benches all the way around, where you can put a piece of wood in the middle, foam it over, and you've got like a makeup bed or a rock and roll bed? I went for a sideways bed, one so that I get a bit more living space inside, which is exactly why I've got a small shower room just there, so that I can have a single bed just here for my son. But I went for this because I like to drive and drive and drive and drive. I can finish a long shift at work and just say, right, I'm going to Norfolk, 5 hours down the road. I can get 3 hours down the road, start feeling tired. I can just pull over into a spot and just flop into bed. There's no making a bed to be able to sleep. But if a weekend van's what you want, and you want more living space, then why not have a makeup bed, a bed that you make every day? Or if you want a van that will fit into a car parking space, you can have a makeup bed there. There's a lorry coming in here. Oh, look at him. Now, because I do a lot of mileage, I wanted to make sure the cost of brakes and tyres. That's actually been quite mind-blowing for me. Let's check the one on the back, because I got these Rogue alloys, and these come Forza tyres, and everyone said, oh, they're the cheap ones, but this is a brand new tyre. You can see that. I've never used it. It's there. That there is 70,000 miles. I know, even I'm shocked at that. 70, granted, it's been 2 years, so 70,000 miles in 2 years on those tyres. I am in the market for some replacement tyres. They've got loads of life left in them, but for my peace of mind, plus I'm a bit anal, so I like to have the back rear tyre matching the side tyres. I don't know, it's just something I like. After doing all that research, keep on top of your servicing, keep on top of your oil changes, your brakes, your tyres. You shouldn't have any nasty surprises, provided you've prepared for stuff that you know is going to come. But how do you prepare for the eventuality where something might come? Let's say an incident, an accident, a bigger breakdown than you could possibly imagine, an oil pipe bursts and your oil goes all the way out your engine, you cook your engine, whatever. I've preached this 1,001 times, the emergency backup fund. Have a fund in the bank, just sat there waiting for if something goes wrong. A problem going wrong is stressful enough. You don't want the financial problems there on top of it. So it's always worth just having an emergency backup fund. If I had to do another van again, let's say engine blew up, chassis snapped, whatever like that, what van would I pick? Would I go for another VW Crafter? Yes, 100%. I'm massively in love with this vehicle. Yes, I've been through every problem that it could throw at me, but I love this vehicle. VW Crafter, long wheelbase, but, and this is a big but, I'll probably get myself a small little caddy as well. I would love to be able to zip around all these little mountain roads and go climb some of the mountains that are around those, but this van will not fit up like the hard knot pass, the Y-Rose pass in the Lake District. My steering lock on the front wheel drive is just a bit not tight enough. If I did it again, I would potentially go for a 4-wheel drive, the 4Motion, or rear-wheel drive. But I'm in love with this van, how it's turned out. I'm in love with the feeling that I have for this van. All the opportunities that this van has actually opened for me, all the places I've seen, the things I've stumbled across, the memories I've made with this van. God, no, I'm not married to this van, I promise you. If this video's helped you at all, hit that thumbs up button. If you're new around here, please subscribe. And if you need an insurance quote, Sterling Insurance down in the description down below. Peace out, guys.